Broadcasting live from the plane of Middle-earth, which is a place we went to the very first time this year. It's Tap Tap Concede. And we are back after last week's extra long episode to discuss the things that happened at Magic the Gathering in 2023. We got 5 months in an hour and 15 minutes. So I've been told we need to pick up the pace a little bit by James and by Nelson, who has a heart out. But before we get started, I want to say thank you to James, who's running the board, Wheeler.
It's great to be here.
Nelson.
He said the thing.
And everybody for this fun discussion. You for supporting us on our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. And, of course, the sponsors of this episode, cardkingdom.com. Use our affiliate code cardkingdom.com/LRR. Make your orders. And then in the instructions field, you can say, Lur sent me, button, please. And you'll get a special Loading Ready Run button. And at time of recording, it says foil lands make foil mana. And I'm going to assume that that is still going to be the case when this episode comes out like 2 weeks from now. But that's a great place to do your holiday shopping. And if you live in the United States, they could probably still get you stuffing in time for present day.
Full art lands make full art mana.
Ooh. That's a good button.
I'm saying this now so I remember.
Okay, you put that in the comments below. That's an idea that we've had. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, we do appreciate your comments and your engagement and sharing, liking, subscribing, and just telling your friends, even if you're not going to give us money. Just being part of this community is great, and we appreciate everyone. Join our Discord. All right. With all of that out of the way, discord.gg/LRR. With all of that out of the way, let's get to
store.loadingreadyrun.com.
I was just thinking, and I couldn't think of a good way to segue.
Come on, we got to add more to this copy.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm going as quickly as I can. We got to talk about all the things that happened in 2023, and so many things happened, including what I mentioned at the beginning, was that Universes Beyond, The Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth comes out. What a big... This was big, eh?
First Universes Beyond draftable set, right?
Yes.
Like we had AFR a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was sort of like different rules applied lore-wise. This was a Magic product, but it was going to have planeswalkers, and like the planeswalkers just kind of represent powerful characters. They don't actually travel to other planes like Jace would.
Yeah.
You're not going to read about Elminster in Ravnica, but it's still like it was a Wizards-owned place.
Yeah. Because D&D
owned by Wizards now.
Baldur's Gate and stuff
Right?
like that.
Yeah.
So a bit of a vibe of a Universes Beyond draftable set for AFR, a little seed of it. But this one really, okay, this is a completely different, distinct place.
Yeah.
This is a Universes Beyond thing. We've got a new umbrella term for that now, right? And so this was the first one since they started doing Universes Beyond with The Walking Dead and all these other IPs, that now we have a draftable set, not just a secret lair or some other kind of product.
Yeah, I really like this. What I liked, I drafted this set quite a bit, and it kind of released in sort of June, which was kind of like where they used to put core sets.
Yeah.
And it had a little bit of it because it was, and I think well so, designed to bring in new players. It had very I thought, not totally corset-y, but basic, here's themes. This is what this cares about, and this is what this cares about. And I thought it was a less complicated set compared to say March of the Machine and stuff like that, where you had battles and all of these things. But I liked the gameplay of it. I like those kind of sets.
I would hazard to say least complicated set of the year for draftable sets.
Yeah, which I think is the right call if you think this is going to bring in a lot of new players.
Mm-hmm. Also, I said main set release, not standard legal.
Yeah, not standard.
So draftable is kind of like a Modern Horizons / core set, right? Because it's
draft innovation.
Yeah, exactly. It's a draftable set, but not one that you can get any cards for standard out of.
Yeah.
What do you want to say?
I got a lot.
You got a lot to say?
A lot to say. I'm not going to rehash my take on Universes Beyond as a whole, because I think it's dookie. But this is the way you do it. And it works because the IP has such pedigree. It's
There's so
Without
much
Lord of the
depth.
Rings, there would be no Magic the Gathering.
Huge moment for
Right?
nerds, right?
Yeah.
Like, my uncle probably had to remortgage his house for all the money he wanted to spend on this.
Yeah, like it is. This is the DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
everything.
Like so many Magic nerds, especially ones who need to take back pills, really anticipating this set, like, for longer than they knew they were.
Yeah, fuzzy memories of like watching the movies as kids, right?
Or
being-
adults,
yeah,
maybe.
being a
Still fuzzy
teenager.
memories of early adulthood.
It's wild, and I think they, for most of they knocked it out of the park.
It was
Yeah.
a success. Yeah.
It's the best-selling set of all time.
Right. I
Is
mean,
it really?
Yeah,
It's not perfect, obviously. We're going to get to that. But
we'll get to that.
But it was really good. I like that they made it easy to learn how to draft,
Mm-hmm.
right? You've got your amass deck, you got your blue-green scry, you've got your little people and food tokens.
Mm-hmm.
There were distinct, easy to grok things going on in the various color pairs,
Yep.
so that you could get a draft deck that did something.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a great idea to not make it too complicated.
I agree.
I also think they delivered the vibe of the various peoples of Middle-earth pretty well.
I think so. And so I'm going to admit, I don't have the world's most positive association of watching the movies because I did watch them with my, at the time, high school boyfriend who I broke up with. And he was like, not a bad person, but just, we were very incompatible.
Okay.
And we dated for too long. So anyhow, I don't have the fondest memories of the movies.
Did you date for too long and also watch the movies for too long? Because some people
Yes.
like to watch those Lord of the Rings movies over and over again.
Yes, and like back to back to back to back to back.
Right. And I respect that if you're going to do it maybe once a year, tops. But if you want to do that like several times in a month, we need to spend some of
I feel
those
we wanna do
rewatches
that-
going to therapy instead, right?
If you want to do that more than once a year, I'm not into it, to be completely honest.
Fair enough. Well, not anymore. At
Graham
least.
likes the Lord of the Ring movies too, and he bought them, and he's like, "Do you want to watch these?" And I was like, "No." And then I watched a little bit of it. I was like, "Okay, these are actually good," because Graham is usually right about these things. But anyhow, that's not the point. James told us to stay focused. I've immediately derailed us. But I did appreciate, as somebody who is sort of familiar with the lore, and as somebody who read a bunch of the books to try and put together our little lore nuggets, even though we mispronounced something because that C is supposed to be a K, but it's not explained anywhere, that the references were really deep. Like, you could really tell the set was put together with so much care and attention by people who really loved this IP and knew about it.
Oh, yeah.
And
Wizards. Well done.
I think that the love and care and attention that was put into this set shone through. And I feel that if it had not been done well, people would have been annoyed. But this was I think execution on the lore and appreciation and the flavor, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Like, we knew the flavor text quotes were going to be fantastic. That was kind of a given. But then also, mechanics, art, choosing which characters.
Oh, yeah.
all
The moments
very,
that got
very well done.
showcased and stuff like that. Like,
Yes.
very deep cuts, all of, all, it was great.
It brought the world to life.
I will say the balance of the set maybe had some issues in the beginning.
It had. I mean, it's fitting that it had some vibes of core sets because it suffered where the gameplay faltered was in spots that older core sets also had issues of just oh yeah, black red, just play
Yeah.
black red, kill their stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just kill their stuff.
I think I saw somebody who's like, if you not read Lord of the Rings or seen the movies, you might think that Mordor wins from playing the Magic set.
right. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Or that the strongest character in the entire universe are these two orcs.
Yeah.
Just these two orcs hanging out with bows and arrows.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that card.
Aragorn's pretty strong, too.
Aragorn is quite strong.
Yeah.
This set, Orcish Bowmasters, is my least favorite Magic card of all time.
Wow.
It has earned that title.
Do you think that, you still... all those other things are true, though? We were saying, you still really appreciate this set,
Yeah.
and they did a great job, and they represented it well.
I think
and
it
you hate
is.
Orcish
I think
Bowmasters, yeah.
that it is if you're going to ever do Universes Beyond on a larger scale, especially, you have to do it like this.
Right,
This,
this is
just knocked it.
This is the blueprint.
Perfect IP, incredible execution. enjoyable for all levels of involvement with both the IP that it's picking up and like Magic as a game.
Right.
And I think that's incredible. And the sales also reflect it. And the One Ring, like the gimmick, like the marketing gimmick of having the one of one ring.
Oh, yeah, we should talk about that.
Yeah. I don't know, having Willy Wonka's golden ticket's kind of cool.
They finally did it, right? You know, it's like something that other games have done before where there's like a unique printing of a card that's maybe even mechanically different, or for whatever reason, there's like a few individual pieces of cardboard that are like super duper expensive and sought after and like relevant to the game. And with Lord of the Rings, in the collector boosters this year, there was a chance that you could open a serialized. We haven't even talked about serialized printing. That was like that also just came with Lord of the Rings, didn't it? Anyways,
with Mom.
With Mom. Okay, right. Sorry. It came with a unique, only one in the entire world that exists, as printed,
with Brothers
copy of the One Ring. So someone did open that golden ticket in a booster pack, I think in Canada and Montreal.
Yeah, I met the guy.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
I'll talk about it later, but yeah.
Yeah. And then
And then sold it to Post Malone for like a couple $1,000,000.
very publicly sold to Post Malone for $2 million.
I mean, I feel like honestly that's like the best story arc. Yeah. They're like, all right, well, some guy opened the One Ring and it went to this guy who's super rich and also super into Magic the Gathering. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some guy got like
And even a guy who's super rich because he's like dropped a bunch of bangers that were on like, the Spider-Man soundtrack and not just some guy who owned a diamond mine or whatever.
That's true, yeah,
Like, that's
like-
kind of cool even.
Yeah, a super rich pop star.
Yeah.
Great.
It's about as what?
No, I'm not. I can't.
You can't?
I am going to get us in trouble if I make this joke.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me later. Okay, so Orcish Bowmaster problem. One Ring also a bit of a problem in Constructed, although
Oh, yeah.
I want to say similarly like finding the One Ring golden ticket individual card, kind of a cool promotion they did. Hopefully we won't see another one like that for a long time if ever. It'd be okay if they never did that again.
Yeah.
It's so hard to replicate it because
Yeah.
it's like it's the ring.
Yeah.
From the Lord of the
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's got
It's
like
the
this
Kane from Citizen Kane.
Well,
Yeah.
if they ever did a Marvel team up, maybe they could do a one-of-one Power Stones or whatever.
No,
I don't know.
it wouldn't be the same.
Wouldn't be the
Like
same? Okay.
the One Ring has this whole thing. Like it is the most sought after thing that everybody wants, and it's only one, and it's the best and the highest of all of them. It's built into the branding.
But I would put money on there being a one of one for every Infinity.
Sure.
So,
Every
like,
Infinity, so
yeah,
if that
that's
happens.
that's like
Various
juicing people
IPs.
for enough money, right?
Yeah,
Like,
various IPs do have powerful artifacts, but
this is the ring.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so along with the marketing play to take all of our dollars, there's this thing where the One Ring mechanically is also really strong and has showed up in like all the formats where it's legal.
Yeah, it's not okay.
Yeah, it's 4 mana, generic. It's an artifact. You can not colored. You can put it in any deck. It's indestructible.
Cool.
And then when you cast it, you get a triggered ability here. When if you cast it when an ETB, so they can counterspell it. Blue spells do work on this, but if it enters the battlefield, suddenly you have protection from everything until your next turn. That sounds like a fair and balanced ability.
Yep.
And then it also draws cards. It makes you lose life a little bit, but it actually makes you lose life later than when you draw the cards. So these are all just really, really good things about a Magic card, which is it's nice that the One Ring itself is like paired with being really powerful in the game. Might have pushed it a little too hard.
Yeah, this and Bowmasters really suffer from. So, okay. A lot of the times when people talk about like really powerful Magic cards or even underpowered Magic cards and they're trying to make changes to it, they do it in like the worst way possible, which is just one number go up or one number go down.
I've been trying to catch myself and not imagine what a card would need to be fixed.
Sometimes that works,
Right.
but like
Six,
they
make it a
always
6.
just look at it and be like, what if this was 5 mana? It's like, yeah, what if it was 5 mana?
Right.
Like, would it be worse? It's like, yeah,
be
it'd be
slower.
5 mana. Like, of course it would be, but would it like really address some of the problematic like play patterns and like the worst aspects of this card, or like would it,
Yes.
and like to an extent, yeah, but also are there more elegant ways that we can maybe change this? Is there a way to like mitigate, like maybe it costs mana to activate, maybe you take the damage immediately from when you draw the cards, like you put the counter, draw cards, lose life for that. Like
Is there
are
an
a bunch
arena
of ways.
rebalance version? Did they do that? Is that a thing?
They did rebalance it on arena, and I
Right.
think it increased the cost of activating it.
Like you pay one and tap to put a
There are a
something?
bunch of things that you can do. I'll tell you this: the One Ring didn't look like that for a long time in testing.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah, that's public information. I'm not blowing anything up.
Sure.
Same with Bowmasters. Like, there's a
Okay.
bunch of tweaks that you can
Are they
make.
both skull clamp stories? Was it last minute we got
No,
goose
it's
up?
like we want to make a lot of money stories and get people to buy play sets of these cards.
Well, kudos. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to know what you're doing.
Yeah,
That's
but
totally fine.
Bowmasters is it's the classic case of a card you look at and you're like, oh, well, this will punish people doing bad things like drawing extra cards. It's like, no, it punishes you for playing like
Llanowar Elves.
games of Magic the Gathering,
Right, yeah.
where you want to attack or block or play creatures with toughness,
Yeah.
or draw cards because everything draws a card now.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So I think it says a lot that I hold this set, at least personally, that I hold this set in such a high regard.
Right.
And it has created my least favorite card of all time.
Right.
But well, I mean, like, God, do you remember very early in the format when nobody quite realized how good Orcish Bowmaster's in, and then you just start doing things like flashing it in and like destroy, and then you're like, oh my God.
Every Magic player has read it
Oh
like
my
4 or
God.
5 times. Yeah.
Yeah, it just does
The
more.
minimum number of times you've read this card is like 5.
and then
if you
you're
play
like,
Magic.
why does it just keep
Like
going?
in the first week, you're like, okay, I got it, right? And then you take a second point in the turn and you read it again. You're like, right.
Yeah. I think like
GG, go next.
people
Yeah.
picked up that this card was good very quickly, but contextualizing everything it does, where
Yeah.
it's like 2 mana, deal 3 damage to a creature, that's just not something people think about. That it can, like, how it makes a game piece, it interacts with this at instant speed, can do it and respond to also further interact.
Yeah.
Like,
And then you think you know what
God.
it does. You're trying to play around it, but you forgot that it has flash.
yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
yeah,
It is a very powerful card.
yeah.
For commander and for Highlander and for Gladiator. What were some, aside from Bowmasters and stuff, were there any standout cards from this set?
Can I interject and talk about Bowmasters for one more second? I just want to say that between Bowmasters and the One Ring, I'm actually not upset that they made a decision at Wizards to just be like, let's make sure people buy this set a lot. Because before the set was even released, I was like, I'm probably going to buy that set a lot. So I appreciate for the like sunk cost nerds that are just like, I like this too much even before I know what's in it. They're like, well, we're going to put some cards in the packs that you can sell or whatever.
But they had good cards already.
yeah. Well,
You
that's
don't-
fine. Yeah, I'm just saying.
The Gaffer. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What about the gap?
Okay, sure. Sorry. We want to talk about other cards from the set, right? Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty cool when, like, your Aragorn is a powerful magic
There's
card.
like 3 different good Aragorns.
Yeah.
Actually, I even like the red-green one. Like
the
red...
new one.
Oh, sorry. Is it new? I thought they
Yeah.
were all in the same set.
Oh, wait, no, the red-green
Like
uncommon.
Strider. Uncommon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you mean
Oh, right. There's that one.
Strider.
Yeah, that's right. No, I like the 4-mana landfall one.
Yeah.
I played against in a Commander Masters combo sealed thing. I played against an opponent who had that, and it's like this can kind of get out of control. This ability does not say once per turn. 2 and red-green for a 4/4 landfall.
And target creature.
Right. Well, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn if it has 4 power or greater against first strike. So
Yeah.
if you get your Harrows going, like pumps your team. I don't know. This card is like much more fair than most cards we would bother to talk about. I was just like kind of impressed. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, cards are fun.
There
They do
are a
fun
lot
things.
of really good cards in the set that
Yeah.
are also just like people don't that you might be distracted by your One Rings or your fourth Aerolingus. I've only ever called that. Well, no, I call that card Fourth Aeroligma.
Oh, I see.
Ever since it's got, I saw the reaction in your face, Kathleen,
This-
to saying that.
I was trying not to roll my eyes.
Yeah, I can't help it. I don't. I can't.
There are a bunch of great cards in the set. So that one is from the
Commander product.
associated set. So there were
Yes.
4 Commander decks that came out with Lord of the Rings alongside the draftable set.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you remember when everybody was like, "Man, Mirkwood Bats is going to get there in Commander"? It's like this little comment.
Yes, I do
Yeah.
remember
That's a good
that.
card, I think.
We noticed that one before we noticed
Damn, this
how
card-
good Bowmaster was.
Damn, this card broke Commander. It had to be banned, right?
No.
Really? No, but I thought people were talking about how this card should be banned and how it's like
Yeah, this
busted.
4 mana 2/3 flyer is just too powerful for Commander.
There was an entire day cycle of like a whole one day of Magic
we don't
Twitter
have
where
enough
this
time.
was the outrage.
Yeah, we don't have enough time to get into it. But
Yeah.
like, it's the curve of like, no, actually, you should just play more. removal.
Yeah.
Your commander
Right.
deck.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that card, but like to me, it's like, hey, that's a pretty good card, and it's just a common, but it just does stuff, and it's like straightforward. It was a good design, I think.
What would we think of? Sorry, I hate doing this, but just it's partly because that's a 4-drop. It's like, what if Bowmasters had that mana cost, and the Mirkwood Bats had the 2 mana cost? It's like then you'd have a 2/3 flyer for 2 that's like ping your opponents a bunch. It'd be like still fair, but really good. And
Sorry,
then-
what if we made a broken magic card? Is that your
I don't think
hypothetical?
black is allowed to have a 2/3 flyer that does stuff for 2.
Oh, good. Buckle your seatbelts. We're getting it in 2020 for sure. The way things are going.
Great.
But yeah, I want to say they did not do the Hobbits dirty. Like
The Hobbits were great.
the Hobbits are great. There's like 6 different printings of all of them, and they're all great.
Yeah, that food commander deck is absurd.
So fun.
It's so much fun, and I don't think I've won a match with it, but mostly because everybody's terrified of.
Well, yeah,
Hobbits.
you've got a target on your face from like turn 4 because like it just seems like you have a never-ending supply of stuff to do.
Yeah.
And like this, whatever else you do, you're gaining life in the process.
Yeah.
So it just when you're playing that Hobbit, it seems like you're unkillable.
They also printed a new 1-mana dork,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
not a thing they do.
Yeah, that's right.
Delighted Halfling, and
it's really
it's
good.
not only a 1-mana dork. It is a 1/2, which is not what mana dorks usually are. And it lets you add mana of any color, only castable or only usable for legendary spells.
Oh.
And then that spell can be countered.
What a drawback.
But get this. Oko Thief of Crowns, being a planeswalker, is a legendary card.
Yep.
And so you can cast a turn 2 Oko off Delighted Halfling, or Teferi Time Raveler, or
Ren and 6.
Ren and 6, or Boromir, or the One Ring, which happens to be legendary.
Oh, good.
Which we didn't even talk about how that's a plus.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Just
One
abrade it when it enters the battlefield instead of countering it. Lol.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
Very good.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Good set. Powerful cards. All threaded a honestly impossible design needle between being interesting and being accessible to new players, and really making good use of existing Magic mechanics like food and amass and stuff like that to bring Magic flavor
And
to Lord of the Rings.
There's a big Balrog that looks like it has flying but doesn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
classic,
Magic.
Oh, what? No, well, the Balrog has wings, so that's weird that it doesn't have flying.
Yeah. Magic the Gathering
Magic the Gathering.
doesn't have flying.
Yeah, a closing statement on this is that, like, considering all the expectations associated with it, considering what, like, the audience that they were going to pull in, everybody that they had to, like, keep in mind when they're making this product, and just the sheer number of cards that they made for both the main set and all the commander decks and everything, to only have, like, 3 blemishes on what is effectively like an incredibly difficult Horizon set to design is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Like, that's, yeah,
Hey,
hell yeah.
knocked out of the park. Love every Fallout reaction. Everybody liked that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of things that everybody really seemed to like, then later we had MagicCon Barcelona, which I was lucky enough to attend, and so were you, Nelson.
Yeah.
And-
And the weekend was like the pre-release for Commander Masters as well. Should we talk about that in tandem or should we talk about it after?
Let's go. Let's talk about it after. Let's just whip through Barcelona.
Awesome.
I had not been to a MagicCon in Europe before, and a lot of people in Europe had not been to a MagicCon before. And as far as I can tell, the thirst for more of these events in Europe is high, and people are appreciative. And I met people who had traveled literally from all over Europe to come to this. People from Ireland, people from Romania, people from the Netherlands, Germany, Norway. Like, everybody had come in for this. Barcelona is a beautiful city.
Oh
it
my
has
gosh.
great public transit. It was very hot, but it wasn't that bad. You got used to it. You just had to really stay hydrated.
We walked up those steps to the park well only to find out that the tickets were sold out for the day.
Yeah,
and
the Gaudi Park.
we were like, working on trying to stay hydrated and in good spirits,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They have street vendors there who sell like ISO Fresh or whatever, like Spanish knockoff Gatorade is. Buy that if you're feeling sweaty and hot. Really perk you up. But like other than that, like I thought it was a really fun con. I played a lot of Magic, and I noticed that I saw more people with kids there than I think I'd seen at previous Magic cons.
Yeah, there were families.
Yeah, there was a lot more families there, which was, I think, very cool. And I appreciated that because I also had my kid there for one day. We had a nice time. She enjoyed it. She got to play some Magic as well. Starting her young.
Oh yeah, she got into a Commander game with Dana Fisher, didn't she?
She did.
Yeah, I saw some of that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Penelope had a great time. She enjoyed Magic Con. Yeah. Your thoughts?
LRR European fans, thank you so much. You're great.
Yeah.
Like you made the weekend. Yeah, my heart could barely contain all of the love that was like coming our way. We did signing appearances, and everyone was so sweet. I met some Canadian Highlander players from Spain. I forget which part. Sorry, you told me. I want to say Saint Cecilia. That's a coffee shop in town. Anyways, St. Sebastian, maybe? Anyways, thank you, European Canadian Highlander players. You were awesome. We got invited to that part. Well, our schedule was pretty packed again. It was like Minneapolis schedule was packed. Barcelona's schedule was packed. Vegas, we finally had time to chill out a bit. But like the Barcelona schedule, we had this Saturday night, you'll remember, where we were like...
I didn't go.
Was it Gavin's event into our event?
Yeah, it was Gavin's event into our event into the... concert
After party with Wooden Wisdom that we were like sort of obligated to go
Elijah
to.
Wood DJ'd it with his friend who's actually, and I don't remember his name, the other half of Wooden Wisdom. He is a very successful and established DJ.
Right.
I feel like we're putting him down as Elijah Wood's friend, but...
Possibly he's going through life, in at this stage at least, if he listens to Magic Podcast, with people remembering that half of the names of the people in Wooded Wisdom.
He's not listening to this podcast, and if you are, I apologize to you.
Keanu Reeves is in a band that's back together now, and I once heard a interview that was like, the guitar player was like, I'm kind of tired of playing to people's left ear, right? But sometimes that happens when you have like a mega celebrity that gets into a musical group.
Who
right?
can name any other members of Dog Star?
Right. Anyways, I had a fantastic time at Barcelona, but yeah, that was a busy night, and again, yeah, just the people were fantastic.
Yeah, the people were great. Barcelona's a beautiful city.
So nice.
And yeah, I had a lovely time and was felt very honored to go. And people were excited to meet us. I swear to God, tell Wizards of the Coast how much you like us and how much you want us to come to future events.
Right, yeah, we really appreciate getting to go. Thank you.
Amsterdam, I'm coming for you.
Ooh.
So yeah, also that happened at MagicCon Barcelona. Jake Beardsley won Pro Tour Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth. The 75K Limited Open was won by Mattia Rizzi.
Right.
The Secret Lair Showdown was won by Isaac Kiralt Garriga. And the Cosplay Best in Show was Fenrisian Warrior as a Johnny Goldmane. And that was a very impressive one. It was a full suit.
Was that the same a Johnny that was in Vegas, I
I
wonder?
believe so, yes.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, no. It was very cool.
Shout out to that guy.
And then right afterwards,
Damn,
when
sorry.
I was still traveling, because I went to go see some family after that who lived in Europe, Commander Masters came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reprint set, but cool one.
Yeah. You know, a lot of controversy surrounding it about the dollary dues.
Yeah.
As there usually are. It's a really fun set. And unfortunately, a lot of people are priced out of playing it.
Yeah.
Although now maybe like it's not, the sets being this pricey is not a good thing. Also, these sets crashing in value because nobody could afford them and a lot of stores bought up product to try and sell is also not a good thing, because it means that LGSs are, closing down
Right.
at a really rapid rate.
We don't want LGSs to have to like sink because of a certain set.
There's
Sideways.
a dance of like not wanting your cards to cost money and then recognizing that money goes towards not just the product but the labor of the individual that has to take product from one person and give you product, and people don't like to talk about that because they don't respect labor. But anywho, it's this set rules. Like Commander Masters
it's so fun to
is
draft.
so good.
It is so fun to draft. I drafted it actually twice in Barcelona because I was like, how often am I going to get to play this, if I play this like this, these drafts, the Commander Masters drafts have a good chance of firing in Barcelona. And I've done Lord of the Rings and I can do that, but I want to play Commander Masters while I'm here in paper.
Yeah.
And every draft I did of that was so fun and my deck was so ridiculous. And like, it's honestly a great experience. And if it had have been cheaper, it would have been so much more accessible to people.
Yes. And to the credit of the set, people are going to complain about reprints all the time, but there are some incredible reprints in this set that did genuinely drive prices of cards down that were inflated due to just lack of availability that are like staples of Commander at all levels of play. Like the free spells from Commander 2020,
Yes.
the Ikoria, the deflecting SWAT, Deadly Rollick,
and
that
stuff.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Those ones are cheap now. Yeah.
The battle bond lands is like the rejuvenating the enemy battle bond lands.
That have only been printed so far in Battle Bond, right? So
yes,
that their price was very high.
Commander Legends.
Oh, right.
But like
still, they were expensive, weren't they?
Yeah, they weren't nothing. I think for the price drops personally, and I think I mentioned this on the Tap that we talked about that set in its entirety, is that the price drops that I tend to like are the ones where the cards go from $12 to $6. Or 12, get to that range where somebody can justify very easily, like, oh, well, I'm going to drop like $50 and get all these lands for every Commander deck that I own. And that's great. Like they can justify spending more money because they're getting more value out of it, and just like they get to upgrade everything, right?
Yeah. Sure. I think when you can get a card to like the price of a cup of coffee, it comes down into a region where it's like, okay, yeah, it's $5 or $6.
Yeah, for cards like that like
just
only find a home in Commander and casual environments, and like also knocking down, like you need for the LGS ecosystem, you need to have these $20 cards and these like $40 cards, because that's how they can make money,
right,
outside of like selling chips and pop.
Right.
But having stuff like that get down to low enough is where you get people that are like buying like large quantities, like they're stocking up.
Yeah.
They're doing the spring cleaning of their Commander decks and the big swathing upgrades that you would not get those purchases if they're just looking at these cards at $10 a pop, and they're like, okay, I can buy like 4.
Yeah.
But then that leaves these decks not having them, and that feels bad.
Yeah. Like I said, if it, like once you get down to like cup of coffee level, then you can be like, wow, I can get a lot of cards for like $50, $60, right? And it feels like it's more fun.
And I'll play them forever. Like these cards are just like free dual lands in Commander. So if you play Commander, you're going to use them in every deck that you have.
I'm really looking forward to the next iteration of Wizards tries to get Commander players to play Draft, because they did a great job with this one. And they took a different tack, right? It's like full of expensive reprints, and the price point to get in is a little higher. And so it's like on different people's radar, different Commander players are paying attention. So maybe there'll be some sort of middle ground, right? Because we already had, like this year we had the Commander Masters set, and the year before, or was it 2 years ago?
It was 20. Yeah, Baldur's Gate was last year.
Last year we had the really, really fun set that's really cheap and full of cool cards. And nobody played that, right? Like for reference, I agree, Commander Masters Draft, super fun. Easily a quarter as much fun as Baldur's Gate Draft. Maybe even half.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate is like one of the best draft environments
I know.
of all time.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate is so good, and so few Commander players even know what
draft
drafting
experiences. I don't want to say environment.
Yeah.
But draft experience.
But yeah, everyone who's played Baldur's Gate Draft and like played through it like at least one game had a good time. Initiative was really fun in that format. It was great.
It's great with 4 people.
It's one of the best mechanics ever for a limited game of Commander, because it gets the game moving in a way that makes no one feel bad, and the game finishes in like 70 minutes, which is fantastic for Commander in my opinion. So yeah, maybe there'll be a third step, because getting Commander players to enjoy draft is like a nut that I think that Wizards has really been trying to crack. Like Battle Bond, and
Commander Legends.
Commander Legends have all been part of that.
Yeah.
They're working on it, and so just having a set that's like, well, let's just throw all cards that people already know that they love. No new cards. We'll just like throw in a bunch of value in these packs, and it'll be an expensive master set. We'll see how that goes, right?
And what I do like about these kinds of experiences is that Wizards has data. Apparently, the more entrenched a player is, the more they like draft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because draft is just, if you are an entrenched player, draft is free value. You get cards, you get to play with the cards right away, you get the pleasure of playing them, and then maybe you get stuff later to build from, right? So it's like, playing and getting the cards that you need, possibly. So for something like this, it's like a home run. I just think the price point was too high.
Yeah.
Sure.
It made it like, you had to, it was too.
Always is.
Yeah. People, especially nowadays with like the inflation and cost of living going up everywhere. People say it's a Canadian problem. It is the price of housing is a worldwide problem. Inflation is a worldwide problem. Cost of living going up is like affecting basically people in every country. And then it makes a premium product that's already on the high point even more sketchy, right? For people.
Right. Yeah.
So kind of sucks.
It honks.
It does. But the set was fun, and I worked creative text for that set.
Deadly Roll.
Hey.
I wrote the flavor text for the new Deadly Rollick because they said it has Judith on it.
My
and
queen.
I love Judith. I like writing flavor text for Judith because she's very fun.
Please do. I'm
Well
a Judith fanboy, so I'll just take whatever you can give.
Did I read a tweet that your flavor text is going to be included in Murders at Karlov Manor?
Yeah.
Nice. Very exciting. Let's get back to 2023,
Yes.
though.
That'll be for the year in review next year. It was Magic the Gathering's 30th birthday this year as well, technically on August 5th. I feel that like Mom was the 30th birthday set where they're like, look at all the places we've been. But that was kind of fun. And then in August, we had a band announcement,
Yeah,
didn't we?
did. This one is, I'd say big, but it's mostly big for people with back pain. Preordain was unbanned in Modern, which good.
Those
Cool.
who care a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cantrips are fun. Let people draw cards. I mean, Magic is in a spot right now where blue gets a lot of flack, just in general for Magic players. But blue Magic is, you use your blue cards to find your proactive cards nowadays.
Yeah.
Like you are taking game actions with blue decks now, which is like fine. And Preordain has turned out to be a success, like in unbanning it.
Yeah.
Sees some play, but it's not like not flooded by like blue X combo decks assembling every single card that they need.
It's not involved in anything oppressive, right?
Yeah, and like Preordain is not Ponder. Like it is not the combo. Preordain is more of a hit your land drops and like cycle through cards you might need, whereas Ponder is like, how am I killing you? Or how am I drawing Force of Will so that you can't kill me?
Right.
Kind of card. And then in Legacy, Mind's Desire was unbanned, which the kids don't know. And a lot of people don't know because this card was like pre-banned.
I think this card wasn't legal in Legacy like before it was printed. Like it was like previewed, and then they were like, by the way, don't play it in Legacy. We're not going to let you.
At the time, it was 1.5.
Right.
well.
Okay.
Not
It wasn't
technically
even Legacy.
Legacy yet.
Right. It was.
Wow. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Mind's Desire, it's a 6-mana sorcery. What does it do, Wheeler?
You shuffle your library, then
No,
you
you don't.
exile the top. What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Jerk.
Sorry.
6-mana sorcery. You shuffle your library, then you exile the top card of it from the game, and until end of turn, you can play it as though it was in your hand. What? I'm reading the Scourge rules text.
Until end of turn, you may cast it, and you may cast it without
for
paying
free.
its mana cost.
Yeah. Storm.
Oh.
Right.
So you play a bunch of spells, you cast your Mind's Desire, you shuffle it up, then you get a bunch of other spells that you can play for free, including another Mind's Desire,
Yeah.
which counts all the Storm from all the free stuff you played. And then this is truly what storming off is like about.
You even get one land. Sorry, I said cast, and that's not the right Oracle ruling, because you can play one of the lands that you exile.
Yeah, you can play the cards, and they just kind of sit off in the corner.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to.
Thank you, James.
Thank you. Yeah, you exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card without paying its mana cost.
Right.
And you got to shuffle first, but
So I made this little rib here where Wheeler said shuffle your library. Then I said no, you don't. Just because in paper, a lot of the time people shortcut to just shuffling once.
Yeah.
Like you should make sure your deck is random and then exile random cards from your deck.
God, I gotta tell you, there's no feeling like resolving like Mind's Desire for 12 and then be like, do you want me to shuffle between every time?
And they're like,
it's
yes.
just like, oh well, then no, just go, just exile. Like, okay, well if it's relevant, then I will. No, like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm dead.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Basically, casting the Mind's Desire is sort of equivalent to leaving their card on top with Jace the Mind Sculptor. Ooh.
Oh no, our decorations.
We're storming off too hard.
That's right. Yeah, we're talking about Mind's Desire is something that the TV garlands can only sort of handle.
I love this card.
Me too.
Yeah,
I actually played this in Extended. Like the last time I ever played Extended, I think that was the day I met Monty DeVuti. He was like playing like white-black mid-range hand attack and just absolutely tore me apart as I'm on Red Blue Storm.
For those,
or we were in the mirror. I remember him like shutting me down.
wait, are you talking? Was this like
It was Extended.
like Cloud of Fairies extended?
Oh, maybe.
Like
I don't.
Snap
I
Extended?
hadn't even learned like the rest of the decks. Like I was a
Okay,
kid.
okay.
I was like rolling up, in a car with like Justin and Robin Sorensen.
yeah.
I think we might have taken a limo to the event that day.
I think I know.
Oh my god.
That particular event was like a weird weekend.
Okay,
I got
yeah.
like a bad migraine headache and like felt sick and needed to leave after round 2. But I can remember losing to Monty. So
Yeah, for people at home that are currently looking at their Subway scrollers and Family Guy clips, I'm trying to make a joke about young people don't know about Extended.
yeah.
Extended is like old modern, but it also rotated just very slowly.
Yes, every 3 blocks, like every 3 years, 3 years worth of cards would get pushed out of Extended, which must have only happened in Exteded's lifetime, like
a
twice.
couple of times.
Like
yeah.
there were like 2 Extended rotations total because the format was replaced after 6.
And
7
people
years
were
or
still
something.
mad. They had 3 years to like play with these cards.
Just like New Standard.
Yeah, like how like Standard. We talked about New Standard recently, and like Standard also had a very brief time when it was only a year and a half long, but that only happened once,
And people did not like it.
and then we got reversed or whatever. And so we'll see how long 3 years Standard rotates.
and much like modern, Extended was like big. Like
Yeah.
people played Extended.
yeah. This is
and
what you did with your cards
It
after
was like a
Standard.
pro tour.
Yes.
You like and
It was-
a lot of GPs.
It was a real part of the like. It was more. It was basically modern. It was like about as sport
Yeah.
as modern is now.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
pro scene.
yeah. I played Blue Green Madness.
Nice. Of course, everyone from Yellow
Everybody,
plays
yeah.
like Blue Green
It
Madness.
was cheap.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Yavimaya coasts on the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was also fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the topic of reminiscing about wonderful times we've had playing Magic with friends, unfortunately, we do have to talk about something a little bit more sad. This September, after a really long battle with cancer, Sheldon Menery passed away. And I think we can all say that it was a huge loss for the entire Magic community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed, and Sheldon and I don't even think ever. Not sure if we met in person. But we played a game of Commander as part of a charity thing in 2020, like a webcam game. And I'd read a bunch of his articles and knew who he was. And we were even featured in an article like alongside him when BDM
Oh, yeah.
interviewed us about Canadian Highlander.
I was. I mean, Sheldon was a friend and a mentor for me, and one of my favorite things was giving him shit, including occasionally mentioning.
Well, that's too bad because I guess there's no one in your life you can do that for now.
Yeah, no, nobody anymore. And he, was always very good at like giving proper credit because a lot of people are like, he made Commander. And it's like, well, no, not technically.
Right.
But
Championed it, though.
I would, yeah, certainly. I would always give him crap because the article was like the Godfathers of Magic the Gathering, Godfathers of Casual. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I would always be like, as a fellow Godfather of Casual,
Nice.
just yeah.
Nice.
He was incredible man.
He
Incredible
was,
man.
he was generous of spirit. He was kind, and he really strove to make Magic the Gathering a really inclusive place, which I think was deeply appreciated by people who worked with him.
Yeah, I think the first thing people think is his, proliferation of the Commander format, but he was also just like a very impactful judge. Like I think he was
yeah.
the first person to go from like level 5 back when there were 5 levels to judge emeritus status, where he wasn't going to be quite as actively involved because he had already had such a long career and he's got other things he wants to do, but still kind of we lean on him sometimes. So a very real loss for the judge community as well. And yeah, I don't know. I think most entrenched Magic players were kind of like saddened and affected by him.
You didn't even have to be a Commander player to just like
Yeah.
feel the impact that he had, and it's certainly that his passing kind of sent shockwaves through. No matter how you interacted with the game, yeah, you felt it.
Yeah. Our condolences to his family and those who were very close to him.
Now on to Wilds of Eldraine.
Yeah, I was trying to think of how to transition, but I really couldn't. But Wilds of Eldraine, it's back. And from a story point of view, last time we were on Eldraine, we got to meet stupid, sexy Oko. Little did we know how stupid and sexy he was. He turns out Oko had a kid. And now we've met Oko's son, who's actually quite charming. And everybody seems to like him quite a bit.
Right. It's like who had on their bingo card realizing that Oko was going to be a deadbeat dad. You know, it's like you probably could have taken one look at him and plenty of you were like, yep, that's deadbeat dad.
I don't know,
material
dude.
right
I
there.
saw 5 loyalty and a +2, and I knew that guy was up to something.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so Wilds of Eldraine. What did you two think of the format?
I didn't play it enough.
I kind of feel the same way.
I thought it was cool though, and it felt rich and deep.
Yeah.
Like the limited format.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I drafted it a couple of times. I had an epiphany with Lord of the Rings where I don't like draft as much as I thought I did. That wasn't Cube.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's shocking, but Cube has ruined me. It's too perfect.
I think Wilds of Eldraine was around the time that I realized that maybe it's that. Maybe I've grown out of draft because I used to just be like fully like degen addicted, wanted to draft whenever I could. But I think the release schedule has gotten to me.
Yeah.
Where the pace of feeling like, okay, new format, exciting. I'm going to have to take some losses. I'm going to learn some things. I'm going to like muddy through and maybe my tickets will go down or whatever. Or like I'll put some time into getting better and then I'll be grinding and then, interesting things will happen for different reasons later in the format. And now it's kind of like it's always the first 2 weeks of a set.
There's so much data available; it just gets shared. It kind of like people talking about the stuff. I mean, it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing partly because of how your average Magic player, your average person, is going to interpret that data and take it as like gospel. Yes. And Wilds felt like a set where that was especially so because there are so many goofy like 4-color, 5-color decks that you could build in that set. And why do that when you can just look on 17 lands as to like what the best color combo is? And it was a set that I drafted. I got my drafts in, as I like to say.
Sure.
And I was like, yeah, this set is kind of kooky, and some of it just feels miserable. But, cool cards. I really liked the set as a whole.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the sets where I wish we had more time between releases.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like it might have suffered a little bit just from being on the heels of the absolute juggernaut that was Lord of the Rings as well.
Yeah.
And then Commander Masters and then Wilds of Eldraine. Like we had sets. Commander Masters is August. Wilds of Eldraine is September, and then Lord of the Rings was June. And Lord of the Rings was the end of June. So it was June 23rd, August 4th, and then Wilds of Eldraine September 8th. So we've got just over a month between some of these releases. And I think that I think that maybe Wilds of Eldraine people were maybe starting to get a little fatigued by that. And then it's fall, so you have a lot more stuff going on in the fall typically as well. People tend to get busier.
Yeah.
Because I didn't play as much of that set as I wanted to either. I had other stuff I was doing, right?
It's funny because Magic is... I used to say that I didn't actually think the release schedule was that bad, at least last year, because it felt like you could pick your poison a little bit more. you know, where if you weren't a commander player, you could ignore the commander cards. If you were a commander player, you could ignore some of these like reprint sets or just pick what you like and focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can engage with this hobby in a healthier manner.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about this past year, but it kind of was, it's almost like Wizards figured out like, hey, wait a minute. People aren't paying attention to everything enough.
Yeah.
We got to stop that.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like I listen to music, but I don't listen to every single album that comes out, even if I'm like, I'll pick and choose the ones I'm super into.
Yeah. And this just had so much.
Too many good releases. The 2022 was like that for music, whereas there's a lot of like backlog of bands releasing albums, and so it just felt like every week there was like 3 albums that I wanted to listen to, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm tired.
I just want more time with these sets.
Yeah.
Like I remember the food cards were pretty cool. I want to sneak that in.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I do
really-
have an impression and some memories of this set.
Yeah.
Like the cookie monster. What's
Yeah,
Tough
Sir
Cookie?
Ginger.
Tough Cookie
Oh, no,
and
Tough
Sir Ginger.
Cookie.
Both of them. Yeah,
Oh.
actually the 3-1. Also good, but I was trying to think of Tough Cookie. Cool.
The Minstrosity.
Gretel. Gretzel.
Greta. Scourge of Sweet
Night-
Tooth Scourge.
Yeah, Night of Sweet's Revenge.
Yes.
All very cool
All
stuff.
like
And the-
fun flavor.
And the rolls I thought were pretty cool.
I like the rules too.
Like they managed to get me to play a 1 and a white 3/3 that comes in and makes itself a 1/1, right? And like
2
I-
white.
two white? The
Two-
3 mana?
yeah, the frog.
Yeah. That was a 3
Curse
drop.
Courtier.
Yeah.
That sometimes was just a 1/1, and that's what you did. You played 3 mana and you got a 1/1.
And then you
Love that for
bargained
us.
away your
Yeah, and then you
roll.
bargained. Hopefully, you bargained with it. Like there's a bunch of things that enabled you to do. It was 2 permanents
Yeah.
coming in and all that stuff. But like some games, it was just a 3 mana 1/1, and I didn't even feel bad about including
No.
it. And I'm up against like other 2023 limited cards that are much scarier, obviously, and better than that. And still, it was just like nice work, Wizards. I don't know. Like I appreciate what you've done here. Yeah.
I appreciated the from a Vorthos point of view to come back out. There's sort of a new approach taken with storytelling and incorporating the story into cards in a way that we haven't seen in quite some time. And I really think that helped roll out the new characters that we met, because we had introduced Kellen, who's very important to the storyline, and it helped us not only did you get the story if you read the web fiction, which honestly was really good and contained a lot of character development and interesting internal stuff going on with Will and Rowan and how they're responding to not having their sparks and blah, 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 blah. But we got to meet Kellen. But unlike March of the Machine, where you didn't really know what was going on unless you had read the web fiction to a really good degree, because there's so much stuff that wasn't sort of communicated as much on the cards, I felt that having like literal quotes from the story, little story spotlight moments that are like, this is in the web fiction as well. This is when Kellen does this. This is when he pushes Agatha into her cauldron. I loved that.
It felt like Tempest Block.
Yeah.
Because Tempest Block is the classic, like every card in that block, or like 4 out of 5 cards have a story moment of literally like beat by beat, almost like comic panels.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you just lay Tempest out and it tells you.
Yeah,
what happened.
and
That's
it's just
cool.
like it's
Didn't know that.
It's like Miri and Tangarth are in here and they're ambushed, and then here's the combat trick that shows them winning this ambush, and then here's them patching themselves up after this ambush. Then here's Volrath being like, "Oh, you meddling kids!"
Yeah.
right? And you kind of, but that was arguably too much.
Sure.
But this felt like WoW felt like it managed to do that, but then left enough gaps that you were enticed to follow the web fiction.
Yeah.
Or even just fill it in your head, be like, damn,
Yeah, I think
that cookie deserved it.
yeah, I think you can get an idea from just reading the cards and playing the cards and reading the flavor text of who Kellen is and what's going on and what he's doing, right? Which I thought was really great. And I love that sort of like deeper harmonization of the story beats into having the cards there, which I thought was great. And A+, good job, loved it. But I'm a big Vorthos.
One more thing.
One more thing.
Beans.
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 Beans happened.
There's some pretty good beans in Up the Beanstalk. It's
Yes.
a hell of a magic card.
So that's made an impact, is what you're going to say?
Well, we're probably going to talk about it a little more in December, but
Yeah.
Turns
yeah,
out you don't always pay 5 mana when you cast a 5 mana or more spell.
Nope.
it beans. Up the Beanstalk was a great kind of like spotlight on 2 issues or like design decisions. I don't necessarily want to call them like mistakes or problems, but like two things that they have that might pop up in some of these like Masters or Horizons, or the Horizon sets, not Master sets, the Horizon sets, and also just like potentially future releases with where they put some rate or power into. Yeah. Beans.
Everybody liked beans. But yeah, so we agree that the set was generally good, fun, but we didn't really seem to get a chance to play a lot of it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I would play more of it. I'm looking forward to when it comes to like flashback quick draft on Arena. I'll jam it.
Oh, the Enchanting Tales.
Oh yes, the
They
bonus
had-
sheet.
they
That
had
was
the
all
bonus sheet.
enchantments. This okay, they've done a lot of bonus sheets. I don't want to derail us because I know we've got a time limit here. I felt that this bonus sheet was not as cool as some of the other bonus sheets that they've done. There was too many non-bows.
Agreed. But also, very funnily, we're not talking about the ban list for like arena sets or whatever, but 6 cards on the bonus sheet were preemptively banned.
Yeah.
And Blood Moon, Necropotence, Sneak Attack, Land Tax, Intruder Alarm,
And
Spreading Seas. Just these like
it's a funny list to read.
Titans of Eternal Magic or like combos with anything.
And
cards.
Spreading Seas.
And Spreading Seas. Which they probably have good reasons as to why. Still funny.
Yeah.
Still funny.
But speaking of things that happened in September, and maybe why I was not as focused on playing as much Limited, is there was MagicCon Vegas, which was a big deal. And Wheeler didn't go to that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
No, you did.
We all
Why-
three did.
Yeah,
why
I
do
just
We
didn't
were
like.
all there.
Why do I was very busy during Vegas.
Yeah, you were doing a whole thing.
Yeah, well, because I won game nights in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
So then I had to get in the robot again. They made me go back and play again. No, it was fine. It's great. I love
Get
working.
back in the Rakdos
It's-
deck, Shinji.
It's honestly like it's a little stressful to play on stage, and then the last few turns got very complicated. And I was like, oh no, because there's a lot of people yelling instructions and probably seeing lines that you're not seeing, but I also can't see what's in your hand. So it's like always like a very stressful moment. But at the end of the day, I will say crazy good luck on a Chaos Warp, honestly.
That happened.
And having a card from Ravnica, my favorite block, and always coming out to help me out. I won the Game Nights Grand Championships
Yeah, you
down in
did.
Vegas. It was playing against Jimmy, Josh, and Rachel, 3 of the best Commander players, and Rachel is just like, oh God, oh my God. Well, sometimes you can get lucky.
You had a lot of work to do, and I said it on the weekend, but I would like you to take more credit for your skill in that game because you were playing this like Rakdos enchantments aggro deck that like I don't even know if I would totally understand like what the priorities of would be at first, and you just like you kind of made all of your cards sing. Like you were really doing it. Like every time it came back to your turn, it was like, oh, Kathleen's doing something exciting.
Well, I mean, the deck is, very well done. I think I can say that,
You're the one casting the spells.
that's true. But I thought that it was, very fun and, like I said, pretty stressful after I got off stage. I said, "Thank you, Josh. This has been an incredible experience. I never want to do this again." He went, "Well, we'll see." But I have no plans to play any more main stage Magic. But I can say that, I felt pretty proud of myself.
Good.
And I have an incredible photo of me that my friend Nexie took, which you can see on my Twitter.
Oh yeah, you looked great too.
Yeah,
like your
and
outfit, and
just
your hair,
with
and your makeup.
CGB.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, one quick fun story about that. I was the first person to go get hair and makeup done, and and when Josh told me that they wanted it to be bigger than Minneapolis, because for coming back for Las Vegas, because I didn't know I'd be coming back for Las Vegas because throughout the year they'd only made the promise that the 4 decks would come back because they kind of wanted to have maybe Jimmy and Josh play. in the the final, because they are the game nights, and that's very fair. So if he did not win in Barcelona, which he did win, he was going to be playing Rankle and Torbran at Vegas, and that's fine, wasn't going to bother me. But basically, once he won in Barcelona, we had a call. He's like, okay, so we'd like you to come back to Vegas. We're going to try to make it even bigger, more exciting. So I went, okay, how can we make it bigger, more exciting? He's like, well, we're going to have costumes and stuff. And I was like, oh, awesome. So I had my hair cut specially so I could put it up like that, and I explained to my hairdresser what I wanted to do. And then I was the first person to go to makeup, and so we went to makeup, and so I said to the professional makeup artist, I was like, hey, can you make me look like a berserker barbarian? Here's some pictures I found online. And she went, okay, fun. And then I came back and everybody went, oh my God. And I went, well, we're playing on the main stage at Vegas, because I had my hair sticking straight up and had like makeup smeared all over my face, and I'm playing like this barbarian. So like, come on. It was fun.
It was fantastic.
Showmanship and skilled magic. And but yeah, I was very busy at MagicCon Vegas because of that. But I had a great time, and once again, it was wonderful to meet all of our fans and just to see things and do stuff and play games and chit chat with people, and it was great. I loved it.
Fans were great.
Yeah. Vegas experience for you, Wheeler?
Oh, I'm done with Vegas.
Vegas itself, way less fun than Minneapolis, it turns out.
Yeah, I've been to Vegas like 8 times.
I
in my
hate
life,
Las
and,
Vegas.
yeah,
It's so
I hate
expensive. It is a town surgically designed to extract you from your money, no matter how hard you avoid it. Because even if you're like me and you don't drink and you don't gamble, they have amazing restaurants, and they're all incredibly expensive. Like, God. Ugh. So anyhow, I personally don't love Las Vegas, but I loved MagicCon, and I think where they got to with MagicCon at the end of the year was really good. I really enjoyed I watched the cosplay contest. It was fantastic. It was just, yeah, it felt like a really great weekend of things to do, no matter how you wanted to experience it. There's something for you related to Magic the Gathering.
I will say I liked the layout of Minneapolis and Barcelona more than I liked the layout of Vegas. But like,
the 2 floors was
I don't
hard.
really want to blame anyone for that. You know what I mean? Like that. I still had a great weekend. I still think they did the best job they could have. It's just, yeah, I think you're luckier when you're at a con where like everything is a little bit closer. Like,
yeah,
you can find, like the panel rooms in Vegas were like a hike.
Mini was great.
Yeah,
the panel rooms in Vegas were like, people didn't know there was stuff going on.
Yeah.
I was supposedly supposed to be on like a panel thing.
I was on a panel in Vegas.
Yeah, I went and caught. I was late, but I rolled into your Achievements thing.
Oh, I was on.
Sweet.
Yeah, sorry, I meant another one. There was
okay.
another one, and I was like trying to find him. Like, where do I go? And nobody knew. Not even like the staff. They're like,
yeah, no, it was
don't know.
For the for the D&D panel that I did, I resorted to like literally posting annotated Twitter photos with like, go up this way and then down this hallway. Literally, it was like, okay, so go past the sign that says no entry, Black Lotus only.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the like, ignore the sign that says
staff only.
Staff only.
Event ends here. No
like,
Magic players. Don't go here. Right?
Yeah,
I know this
exactly.
says press room.
Yeah.
It's not. Please come inside.
Yeah, but like that, I don't know.
That dig aside, really good weekend.
Yeah, great weekend.
Like
maybe
the
just
MagicCon
better
staff
signage.
obviously did a ton of stuff right still.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Weird. The older I've gotten, the less I want to be in Vegas, and the more I'm interested in probably.
Honestly, if we could
do,
have more of the Minneapolis Convention Center open and just do more, because I think there's
Throw
more
me in
conventions.
just drop me off in the Midwest.
sure.
You know?
Take me to Mini twice. It's fine.
Yeah, that's
I'll go
great.
to Mini twice a year.
Minneapolis. Speaking of things that happened, other than me doing things, the 2023 World Championship was there, and Jean-Emmanuel Depraz was crowned world champion. Simone, how do you say his name? Is crowned player of the year?
Is it Simon with an E?
No.
Okay.
But it's
Simone.
Okay. The 100K Limited Open was won by Jason Yee. The Secret Lair Showdown was won by Anurag Das, and the Cosplay Grand Championship, which was won by
our own mod, right?
well, Dick's won in the sort of like whatever.
He won in the beginner.
Yeah, the beginner
okay, there's
category when you
brackets,
don't
there's
have to
brackets.
literally make every single
All
thing
right,
you're
shout
wearing.
out Dix.
Yeah, but the Cosplay Grand Championship was Mishamigo. Again. So
nice.
because they brought all the previous winners back. And she had this incredible Rakdos detective.
Oh no, Rakdos detective. Okay, sweet.
To tie into murders. All right. And then we all had a great time at Vegas. And then we took a little bit of downtime all the way till October 13th. When Universes Beyond Doctor Who came out. And boy, those decks are fun and they are so complicated.
That was the most work I had as a judge at LRR.
Way too
Was
complicated.
the EDSC episode of Doctor Who. I was just like on my feet, on my phone. I'm watching every play that everyone makes to try to double check what every other card does, and I still missed one. I missed a really important one.
You can
on the turn
feel-
Ben was storming out with River Song's Diary.
You can feel like the love that got put into this product.
Oh my God, so much.
Definitely.
But Jesus Christ, like I sitting there and playing at that EDSC, and I'm thinking like, so if you have people that are going to get into Magic because of this product,
Right,
or
yeah, they're-
people
they're
that
Doctor
play,
Who fans, yeah.
or they like play very casually,
but love Doctor
love
Who.
Doctor Who, and they're going to buy these and play these, like the complexity is like out of like so many things.
Yeah.
Like you got upkeep triggers, you got onboard tricks, you got end step triggers, you got cards in different zones doing different things. Like
Yeah.
it's
like if Lord of the Rings was the most simple product that came out this year, and we rate that a 1 on the 2023 complexity scale, Doctor Who's like a 12 out of 10.
it
like-
was too much.
And like, I want to give credit to Wizards for maybe making this choice because part of what people like about Doctor Who, maybe there's a connection here where it's like they're traveling through time and like altering reality and like he's using high technology and it's like it's kind of weird stuff happens, so it's
Yeah.
gonna get complicated. So there is like a bit of a like a cool marriage between the IP and the complexity level and the gameplay.
Yeah.
I acknowledge that.
I do too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Doctor Who is all about timey-wimey stuff. Like, some of the time, Doctor Who itself does not explain what is going on because it would be too complicated.
Right.
Right? And so Doctor Who is, like, it is a natural fit to have weird, complicated, strange stuff happening in a Doctor Who set. But I also found that it got in the way of being able to play a little bit for me.
Magic design at times, especially when they're able to do wilder things, gets a little masturbatory. Like it becomes just being like, oh, what if we did this because we can do this, and because it's so like I'm so smart, like at that we've compiled this thing, and oftentimes that just leads to sometimes it leads to success, but more often than not, it leads to getting these cards where it's like, who is this for? What is this doing? Why are you like, or just like throwing away history and legacy of other cards for the sake of doing something that looks clever. And you have the crutch of a very strong IP to kind of make up for that a bit. So yeah. The more I've been thinking about it, the more I'm like actively just like, nah, this kind of honks. Like, I think it's too complex, and I think it's too like for maybe it's not a beginner product, but you gotta assume again, new people are going to be picking up these cards, or just like even people that play Magic a lot suck at Magic the Gathering. This game's really tough, even when you're not having all these additional triggers and zones and interactions.
I mean, I'm the first person to say I'm a smooth brain Magic player. I find cube to be hard. I like putting together like the simple like square block, square hole of draft format. But I would not say I'm a slouch Magic player. I think that would be disingenuous considering the things that I have done.
No, you're certainly a veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found that very difficult. And I was playing by request the simplest deck. I was like, please give me the smoothest brain deck you can. But I have never seen a recording session for new decks where we haven't seen cards, which is not something this is not something we're unfamiliar with. We do things where we haven't read the cards all the time.
Yeah.
Right? But I have never seen a situation where we have Nelson and Wheeler, our two like big, like most experienced judges, heads down trying to figure something out, and Paul coming in and being like, what is going on?
I think Serge has been judging for longer. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't.
Right, I forgot about Serge.
I've been judging No, so I was judging longer than
Serge,
Serge.
I love you. I'm sorry.
It's been too long.
It's been too long.
It's
Come
December
back. We
now.
miss you.
Kathleen.
No.
has forgotten
Let's
you,
keep
Serge.
this dig in. I was judging longer than Serge.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, but the
sure.
point being, like, if it takes Nelson, Wheeler, and Paul is also no slouch on understanding Magic rules and stuff like that. He's sort of got a
true,
judgy mindset. If he wanted to be, I think he could be.
Paul's great at thinking about corner cases every
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Paul could he could get through a level 1 test for sure.
Oh, easily. But like when you have those 3 people sitting together, that's too much.
Yeah, like I've been, playing the game since beta or whatever and judging since Alara, and yeah, I just had a lot of work trying to stay on top of that.
It is worth mentioning that if we are recording it, we are holding ourselves to a standard or a level of like, do not make mistakes, do not miss onboard stuff.
Yes.
Partially because it makes a better product, and also we don't want to deal with the ire of the sweatiest people in YouTube comments.
Well,
and
you
like
don't want to be spreading misinformation about how cards work.
Exactly, that too, right? But like your average table of Magic players, like they make misplays all the time and just ignore it, and
Yeah, 'cause they don't even know.
they never run into it. So like maybe that's a consideration, but yeah,
I guess. I don't know. To me, it's probably it feels bad if like people are arguing about how a card works.
yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, or if you realize that something different should have happened 2 turns ago, but there's no way you can go back. You know, like that creates another feel bad. So it's just a warning, right? Like I don't want to dig on Wizards for the way this product turned out. I think they achieved a lot of cool things.
I do.
But yeah, if you do want to say like it was too complicated, it does too much stuff. It's masturbatory if you want to say that. Like I'm not going to disagree with you either, but yeah, it's definitely an expert level product.
Yeah. The very fun decks.
Super cool.
Doctor Who's a cool show though.
Yeah.
Got me watching Doctor Who.
really? Nice.
Yeah, it's all right.
Just reading the card is very important if you're going to play those, I think. All right. Other things that happened. On the same day, Wizards of the Coast ends its partnership with and judge certification program with Judge Academy. Judges, how do you feel about this?
Well, I never signed up for Judge Academy because I didn't like Judge Academy and I didn't like how they handled anything. But Nelson?
I did sign up for Judge Academy. I meant to end paying my dues like a year ago, but then missed the cutoff date or something, or didn't click the right box. So I was in Judge Academy for the entirety of Judge Academy, and I didn't use it for much. It did correspond with like the pandemic, so like a lot of people weren't judging in-person events, and the stuff they had set up on their website, I took a quick browse once, and I was like, okay, this is great. This looks like better tools for getting people to the point where I'm at now. It didn't seem like it had a ton for me. I was used to like using Judge apps to find work, and I didn't know whether it took much of that over. I didn't like wait around or keep checking in to see. I just didn't use Judge Academy very much.
Yeah.
Like I did pay them so that I would have the option to be like, I'm a Judge Academy certified judge if I wanted to. And then I never ended up using that at all for the entirety of Judge Academy. I just didn't go judge a main event. I haven't been judging a ton outside of like PPRs. I went and did a charity event for Chris at Highlander.
Yeah.
And, I would maybe consider doing another judging event locally. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's happening now.
I looked up the Wizard statement and they just say we look forward to the future of judging, so I'm not sure anybody does.
Right. So,
Cool.
yeah, we'll see. I don't know what my personal future holds, whether I'll do a lot of judging outside of LRR either. But I will say that, yeah, as a person who's involved with the program, it'd be nice if like the whole world didn't seem like it was turning inside out, or like the entire program was like, being rebuilt from the ground every few years. That'd be great.
You don't like getting uprooted continuously?
Yeah, that'd be great. And I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not saying it's anyone's fault. And I know a lot of judges and organizers have worked really hard, and everyone I've met in judging is great. So it's like not that, and people at Wizards are good too.
Can't all be good.
That's true. Okay, maybe not everyone, but I'm not trying to pin this on anyone. It would be great for current active judges and future judges if there was a bit more stability.
I think that's a very well-reasoned and nuanced argument, and I'm excited for how the internet will interpret that.
Great, me too.
Speaking of things that the internet can interpret, I have a few. We got some in sort of mid-October, early November. We got some changes, big changes made to how Magic is going. I'm going to jump ahead to November. Getting some new words. We now have kindred as a keyword.
Say kindred now.
Snake is going to replace Naga, and Rakshasas are no longer cats.
Yep.
Right.
Because they shouldn't have been really in the first place.
Yep.
And Totem Armor is being retired and replaced with Umbra Armor.
Cool.
Good.
Cool.
All good changes.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. More of that.
Let's be respectful.
Yeah. If you, I'm totally fine to learn something new as a very entrenched Magic player. I don't care. I can change. I can adapt.
Overcome.
Speaking of adapting, I'm going to have to do possibly a lot of adapting because the bigger announcement, draft boosters and set boosters are going to be retired. And now we're going to get play boosters, which are different. And I ran the numbers. Mostly similar to, they're more similar to draft boosters and set boosters, but you have additional slots at additional rares. And they're going to make less commons, but the commons will be more impactful, is kind of how they've described it. So I'm cautiously optimistic that this will be good for draft, but I'm cautious I would love to hear a fully ridged brain take on this, if you have any thoughts.
It kind of stinks that this is a product of like they introduce this kind of these kind of boosters that devalue the worth of draft boosters, and then cite like, well, they're not selling. It's like, yeah, because you pushed other product to
because now you have a second type of booster that has better EV.
Yeah. You have like the gambling addict and the soft G gambling addict booster.
Yeah.
And then like draft boosters are there for drafters that can't draft because pandemic, and also like, everything's expensive unless you have the chance of opening a $20 card and then it pays for itself.
Hooray.
Yeah.
So that stinks because it's also just kind of like removing a product that was just Magic the Gathering for 30 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That said, ultimately, this is likely going to be beneficial for drafting, beneficial for LGSs, certainly.
Do you think it's beneficial for LGSs to not have to bring in like 3 types of boosters now? Your draft boosters, your set boosters, and your collector's boosters?
Yeah, Ed might only have a panic attack about 2 things a day now. That's for Nelson and I. Sorry, Ed. Yeah, it's. I think it's good on that sense, so they don't have to just like buy a bajillion or try to be like, okay, do I need this many of this booster and this booster and this booster, and
makes your inventory management easier.
Yeah, which I mean, they've already just kind of like inventory management for Magic the Gathering nowadays is
really went out the window once they started making 5 or 6 printings of every single card.
Yeah, they introduced there's
I quit working in LGS just at the right time.
Yeah, it's no longer N out of N cards, right? It's there's a
N plus
4-digit number.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I said, like at first I was like, oh, it's gonna ruin draft, was my gut instinct, and then I read.
Draft's already ruined.
Then I read, and I was like, okay, I feel that they have tried to approach this thoughtfully, and I'm sure that they'll keep tinkering with things if it doesn't quite work out down the line.
Yeah.
So I have decided I will be cautiously optimistic about this because I have no reason to operate otherwise, and I wish more people would go into things with a positive mindset and assume that competence and care will win the game. Because overall, I do think that Magic designers do have a good record of caring about the product and wanting to do a good job.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it is a reasonable expectation that people that are paid to do a thing that they're passionate about are going to be successful, or that they are going to do their darndest to put something out. I think you got to have a nuanced take on it, but it's it's not all bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And that brings us to the last set of the year, Lost Caverns of Ixalan, which in my experience with it, what a banger. Love this set.
GTBB, top to bottom banger.
Fantastic set. Really good limited.
Oh my God. I've said before, I just want to hear Powerhouse playing. I want to be like making gnomes. I want to be like doing things with artifacts. Like just exploring feels really good. In this set, discovering feels really good. Like I like it as just like a just sick value for like, oh, my creature got or my stupid 2 and a blue enchantment that turns an artifact into a creature got destroyed. Did I get blown out? No, because now I get to discover 3, and then I could use the thing that got put into my bin to craft. So much to do.
I've just been getting rinsed. I'm like, I don't know, 5 or 10 drafts in now. Still not a ton, but more than I played of WoW, and I'm just getting crushed in all kinds of different ways.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
still having fun. I don't know. I'm like still playing, even though I've been just getting dumpstered.
I did 3 drafts. I'm a retired champion.
Nice.
Yeah. Again, I don't know how Kamigawa. It has a very Kamigawa-esque
Yes.
Does feel a
draft
bit like
environment.
Kamigawa.
I don't know if it's good, but it sure is fun.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm not mad about having paid for it.
Yeah.
No, and like what I like about it is like I was obviously talking about all the artifact crafting stuff like that. The dinosaurs are degenerate and will destroy you if you spend too long dicking
They are
around.
very
Yes.
They are big and they are aggressive, so it feels like there are viable strategies in every, sort of color archetype.
Yeah. It.
And black's not. Like apparently red is not the best archetype for once.
That's good.
So that's good probably for the overall health of the metagame.
The artwork is the best of the year. It is so gorgeous. They knocked it out of the park with this set.
Yeah. Great set.
Yeah.
The story, lore-wise, we get to see Kellen come back because obviously he left at the end of Wilds of Eldraine to go find his deadbeat dad, and then he comes back, and the next time we see him, he sort of pops into Ixalan and meets a hot vampire girlfriend and has generally a fun, adventurous time, and then sort of pieces out at the end of it. They set up a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is happening on Ixalan, political intrigue and stuff like that. And also they sprinkle the seeds of something called the Coin Empire that Quintorius is going on about. And I'll have some more information about that in the new year. But there's interesting things afoot in Magic Story, and there's a little Easter egg, or this is a little background detail sprinkled in the back of a very busy otherwise story where there's a lot of fighting and chaos happening. It's a very chaotic story. Mm-hmm. Less interior character stuff and more like, now this is happening. Oh my God, right?
Yeah.
So
The vibes of Ixalan, like coming back to, we're exploring some part of this plane. Like there's the black-white vampire explorers.
Yeah.
They're coming into contact with the other peoples or whatever. They've managed to do that again in a way that still feels fresh.
yeah,
So I appreciate that.
yeah, and in the story, it's like every faction is trying to get into the plane for different reasons.
Right.
So you have this basically everybody meets in the center of the planet,
Right.
and it's like, oh, what are you doing here? Right?
Spider-Man meme.
It's very fun. It's a sort of a fun, colorful story. Michelle and I recap the whole thing, so to go check that out.
Oh, nice.
And the last thing that's not even happened yet, Cons of Tarkir's coming to Arena. That hasn't happened at time of recording.
And we've got another BNR we got to talk about.
We arguably
yes.
have the largest BNR.
The BNR, okay.
So in Pioneer, Karn the Great Creator and Geological Appraiser were banned, and Smuggler's Copter is unbanned. Looter Scooter is a pretty good Magic card.
Pretty good. Yeah, those are two important decks that are affected. Karn the Great Creator, most commonly seen in mono green.
Yep.
And then Geological Appraiser, just from Caverns of Ixalan, so it was barely in Pioneer for like 3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, 3 weeks. But the Discover mechanic enabled a new combo deck that was very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, Appraiser and Quintorius birthed this new deck where you basically just kill them through either infinite elephant triggers or a whole bunch of creatures in play that get haste and alpha strike.
Yeah.
In Modern, Fury and Up the Beanstalk were banned. Cool. Where's Grief, dude? Where's Grief? Or Bowmasters? I'm so mad that I'm tripping over my own words.
So when I was on game nights earlier this year, because I also did game nights this year that was not sort of related to overall Magic, I would say that I used Fury to great success.
Yeah.
Right.
But I agree that it needs to be banned. I don't even
banned
play
Commander.
this.
Yeah.
It's a great card, but I don't even play this format, and I was like, that seems like a problem.
Yeah.
When the deck is nicknamed Scam,
Yeah.
Right.
right?
Rakdos Elemental Evoke. Yeah. Should have banned more. But,
Should have
that's
banned
fine.
more.
Grief for Bowmasters is probably going to eat a ban in the next 3 months. And then Pauper Monastery Swiftspear got banned, which, cool, I guess.
Yeah, that was a pretty exciting drop for Pauper when Monastery Swiftspear
Did
was
it
made
did
legal.
it
So
did it mess up the format?
probably
That
maybe
format's
more-
already kind of messed up, just perpetually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
The Pauper panel decided to get Swiftspear out, probably to try to balance burn with the other decks.
Yeah.
Right, that makes sense.
I haven't touched the format in like a year, so I didn't
It's-
even play much during the time that Monastery Swiftspear was legal.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to ban the new Treatment Inspector.
No. There's also a new format that was not a new format, timeless.
Timeless.
Right.
Yeah, which is the no ban list historic, but actually just kidding. There are 3 cards that are banned.
Right.
What is it? Demonic Tutor, Channel, and Tybalt's Trickery.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 powerful cards from Alpha, Beta, Unlimited. Yeah, it's yeah.
Tybalt's Trickery, from Unlimited.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I didn't play it when it was running, but apparently it's very popular. Like people
Timeless?
really enjoy.
It's coming
playing.
to Arena, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's an arena format.
Yeah, it's an arena only format.
Yeah.
It's going to be available out, I think, the day that this airs. No, this is the second one.
Yeah.
Couldn't
It's-
possibly have just given us a Gladiator queue, huh? Great.
Move on. Keep going. I can't.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of different formats to play on Magic Arena.
Yeah.
Do you think
Some of them good.
Do you think Timeless will sort of depreciate some of the less fun ones?
It loses its novelty when you get to do it all the time, right? Like the novelty behind some of these formats, and Gladiator included to an extent, is that you play with them for like midweek Magic, or there's like a special event, and then it goes away. And not all these formats are like Cube, where it turns out Cube is actually just good enough to always have active.
Right.
And they still choose not to do that. But yeah, it's fine. I'm sure it looks pretty neat. People have a lot of fun with it. It's a little weird that if it's going to be permanent, I don't even know if it's going to be a permanent queue or if they just wanted to slap a name on it. But cool. Timeless Dragon's also getting added to Arena. That's kind of cool.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a little cute.
Yeah.
A little cute addition.
Adorable.
Yeah, that card's great.
It is a good card. Yeah, I think that at an hour and a half, almost 2, and it was hour and 15 for the first one. God, this is I think that sums up the year in Magic.
Yep.
Oh wait, Lost Caverns of Ixalan, punt counter punt. We reset it.
I gotta go.
You gotta go. We're done.
We're done.
Thanks, everybody. We appreciate everything that you do here for Loading Ready Run, liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, and donating on our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. We couldn't do what we do without you, so thank you so much. And if you're feeling like you need to buy gifts at this very festive time of year, as advertised by our backdrop here, well, why not head over to cardkingdom.com, where they sell Magic cards and product, and they have fast shipping, so you might still get it depending on when you watch this video. If you watch it on the 23rd of December, I think you're probably out of luck, but that's not my problem, it's yours. And it doesn't matter if you're going to make an order with cardkingdom.com, be sure to use our affiliate code, cardkingdom.com/LRR, and say LRR sent me button, please, and get a button that likely, but not guaranteedly, says foil lands make foil mana.
And tell us what your favorite release of 2023 was in the comments below.
What a great call for engagement, Wheeler. Thank you. Yeah, tell us what you thought of 2023. We'll read the comments. I absolutely pinky promise swear that you will.
I do it every time. It's a mistake.
So until next time, thank you to James for running tech for this. Thank you, Wheeler.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nelson.
Pleasure.
This has been Tap Tap Concede. Bye, everybody.
Bye.